getting a shot of the starting sequence here, and then we will catch up with this race in real time at about the midway point.
And here we pick up live with those boats on the water for this women's D2 D3 Club Collegiate Novice 8. 6 boats across in this race. We're catching them live now, and we will, once we get an overhead perspective, be able to give you a real insight into how places are looking currently. That's that 1,000-meter mark on that orange flag that you're seeing there, the indicator to the athletes that they have reached that halfway point. These courses are buoyed. If you're new to the sport of rowing, you may notice those small buoys out on the course. If you take a different perspective and look straight down the course from beginning to end, you will notice that those buoys lay out the lanes within which these boats have to stay. And that is how the boats know how they are racing straight down that course. They are used by the coxswains in order to maintain their port and their starboard sides to make sure that they know that they are in their appropriate lane. They can get flagged if they move outside of those. And so it gives those coxswains some order for the racing.
All right, and it does look like our leader here right now is in lane 1. That's UC Santa Barbara. And as these are novice 8s, anything can happen. We see a lot of different change up throughout the race. We see some interesting steering patterns sometimes, and varied level of athleticism within the crew. But one of the things that we've noticed all weekend is that huge UC Santa Barbara team. They are perpetual competitors and champions at the ACRA level on both the men's and the women's side, and fielding a very strong novice boat here at the Crew Classic. So lane 1, that is UC Santa Barbara and their A entry. They have 2 entries in this event, lane 1 and another one all the way out in lane 6. So we'll keep our eyes on the placement with crews and come back with a report.
And when you're talking about novice crews, one of the things and one of the challenges you face is that rowing may be new to many of the athletes in the boat. Sometimes you have recruits, in which case you can see a boat come together pretty quickly to create some speed. But if you have a bunch of true novices, walk-ons to the program who are just learning the sport, rowing is not an easy sport to learn. It's not a natural movement. It does take somebody teaching you how to put yourself in the right place at the right time in order to orchestrate the correct movement of the rowing stroke. And so you're teaching all 8 of these athletes a new stroke. And if you have a boat full of those true novices, it can be tough for them to come together. And the thing that can create speed in a boat is when athletes can come together. So in this novice 8, when you see a boat that is moving together, often you will see them create some easy speed that allows them to push off and dominate in a race like this. So when you see those spreads, an easy thing to look for is how are those crews coming together to create that speed?
And I would say technically one of the most important things for any crew to focus on when they're in their early stages of development is just getting the blades in the water together. You're going to notice some consistency there when you take a look at crews out on the water. Are their catches in together? Are the bodies moving in motion? Kind of those just basic things. And then from there, as they get a little more experienced, you're going to find those nuances that really make all the difference. And then, of course, training. But first, just get your blade in the water.
Isn't it funny how simple that sounds and yet how challenging that can be in practice? It's just that easy, everybody. Just put your plates in the water and boats will go fast. It's simple but not easy to execute, I suppose, is the way to put it. And that is the challenge of every novice coach that exists out there is trying to help get that point across to their athletes.
Yeah, but right now we're seeing a huge, huge lead here by UC Santa Barbara, way out there by themselves. Kind of hard to see really what's happening with the rest of the field, but looks as if perhaps it is lane 3, UC Davis, that has that second place position. Yep, and there is that nice overhead shot of Davis, but here come the Gauchos, UC Santa Barbara, really a nice looking crew. Definitely have their blades in the water together, and that is going to give them a great shot at bringing home this championship in the Collegiate Novice 8. That second spot is going to go to UC Davis. UC Davis rowing out of lane 3, so a lot of spread here between these boats. The Aggies rowing out of the deep water channel in the port of Sacramento. And then it looks like our third place crew is going to go to UC Irvine there in lane 5. UC Irvine holding off the second entry from UC Santa Barbara. So there is your third place crew, and fourth there for UC Santa Barbara. In fifth, it's going to be San Diego State. And then finally, Cal State University Long Beach.
And that wraps up our women's D2, D3 club, collegiate, and novice 8 race. We will be moving next to the women's youth 8, an 8-boat race. We got another big boat race coming here. Lots of boats, lots of oars, lots of racing to happen. We'll be catching up at that start line in just a moment.